Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to thank the delegates, excellencies, observers, and especially the ISA staff and Secretary General for your hard work and dedication to make this all possible for us all. I believe that the observers of the ISA hold a special designation of being the conscience of this great organization. And we are duty-bound to speak not only from our minds, but also from our hearts. The Law of the Sea was created by dedicated people who met almost permanently for 15 years. They took great care and cautious deliberation with each and every word that they put down and finally approved in Montego Bay in 1982. Under Article 62, under Conservation of Living Resources, the architects of the Law of the Sea were crystal clear that restoration for impacts to the seafloor is required. Restoration is a requirement. That much is very clear. However, actual repair to the seafloor after mining occurs in 5,000 meters of water is not likely to occur in any meaningful or measurable or realistic way. Fish Reef Project is a passionate group of true believers who want only to deliver a healthier ocean to future generations, yet we understand the need for mineral extraction for a modern society. We support research, we support impact avoidance, and adaptive management. However, deep-sea mining will have unavoidable impacts no matter how careful we are. And those impacts must be mitigated for restoration to actually occur and for contractors to be in compliance with the Law of the Sea. Even if the biological impact of the deep-sea mining is minor, and it very well may be, by removing the actual hard-bottom substrate, the actual seafloor, the actual rocks, the manganese nodules, you are in effect removing reefs. Yes, nodules are a type of reef ecosystem. For this reason, we have proposed that nearshore replacement reefs be made in the coastal zones of developing nations to replace the lost hard bottom from deep-sea mining. The Law of the Sea also states very clearly that the ocean is a single system. It's not compartmentalized. It's meant to be seen as a single unit. So it is in good keeping with the Law of the Sea to make shallow reefs to mitigate for the impacts in the deep sea. In one ecosystem, you have low biodiversity, the deep sea, and in the shallow ecosystem, you have high biodiversity. So you are increasing biodiversity by making reefs in the shallow area. So the ocean wins in that sense. By creating nearshore reefs, you will be improving overall ocean health, and as such be contributing to the common heritage of mankind, as every living being on Earth benefits from a healthy ocean. And by stimulating nearshore marine life in a few areas, a contribution to global ocean health is made. The benefits of the deep sea minerals belong to everyone. But the flip side of that, so do the liabilities to mitigate for the impacts. It's not just the responsibility of the contractors, it's the responsibility of every living human on Earth, because everybody is the beneficiary for it. By making new reefs in the coastal zones of developing nations, we will see increased food security, increased job security, and as such contribute to reduced political tensions. This project is in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and new reefs can even reduce the need for long-term foreign aid, as it is a perpetual new source of food and income for developing nations. When locals can access abundant marine life, such as fish, close to home, it reduces the need to import fish or run long distances to get fish in faraway places, and as such, dramatically reduces carbon emissions. Also, when people fish on artificial reefs, it reduces fishing pressure on natural reefs, allowing the natural reefs to recover. You can't be two places at once. Locals also tend to cease the practice, in some cases, of harmful dynamite fishing. And I've seen this practice with my own eyes in certain areas, and it's a devastating practice. However, it does occur. And there's been a lot of efforts throughout the years to get it to curtail, but that has not borne fruit. So when locals are invested in being part of making a new artificial reef, they take ownership of that reef. And they're far less likely to throw a stick of dynamite on it because they made it. Our reefs can defend, and in some cases, against the effects of sea level rise and protect coastal villages. The reefs are a powerful tool to help restore damaged coral ecosystems and increase fish populations. And restoring coral ecosystems is paramount throughout the world. We see large coral die-offs in the Great Barrier Reef, so being actively aggressive in reversing that trend is very important. To ensure that the most possible amount of people benefit from our efforts, we have offered to the ISA that a full 20% of all of our ISA-related revenues to be donated to the ISA Endowment Fund so that landlocked nations and other NGOs can access research funding. It's a very important way to essentially charge up the endowment fund. I hear this theme over and over that it's depleted, and looking for alternative ways to increase the balance in the endowment fund, I think, is worth exploring. We further provide revenue sharing with each host nation where we place the reef. So it's a very good benefit sharing mechanism. And I see this around the world when mines go in. Benefit sharing mechanisms often are left to the last point of discussion after problems begin. But as we've heard in this session, people are eager to see how those benefits are going to be shared. And one of the best things that you can do to share benefits is to increase the health of people's local marine ecosystem so they can increase food security, so they can eat. It's a true benefit, much more meaningful in many ways than just cash. Our next reefs are due to go in Papua New Guinea. We've already finished permitting down there. And the reason we've chosen Papua New Guinea is because the local citizens and landowners understand the value of food security and food sovereignty through reefs. And they've been most eager to see their reefs go in their local waters soon. And I would like to thank the people and the government of Papua New Guinea for welcoming the Fish Reef Project with open arms. I would also like to thank a growing number of mining companies in Papua New Guinea who have accepted the Fish Reef Project as a form of corporate social responsibility. We have surveyed the seafloor for potential reef sites in Jamaica, in Mexico, and the Cook Islands, and with more efforts on the way in West Africa. By accepting a system of making new reefs to replace lost hard bottom from deep sea mining, we as a species can turn what may be the most substantial ocean impact of our time, deep sea mining, into a mechanism that creates global ocean health in a way that can truly turn the tide in a real and measurable way that benefits both humans and the ocean. So I ask that everyone at the ISA to embrace the concept of making nearshore reefs to replace lost hard bottom that will be removed from deep sea mining. And together we can look forward to helping ocean life thrive on an unprecedented level for years to come. And I'd like to add an addendum, please. I realize this concept's a bit progressive, and it's due to raise some concerns, and I would like to thank my fellow observer, IUCN, for raising some points yesterday at the Council. One of the comments that was made is that it's a transfer of wealth. Well, it doesn't transfer anything. What it does is it creates wealth that didn't exist before. And so it creates wealth locally in the nearshore ecosystem for the host countries, and it creates wealth globally because it contributes to global ocean health. There was a concern that there's no legal basis. Well, I believe the law of the sea is a very strong legal basis, and it's very clear about the need for restoration. And now the draft regulations mention the need for mitigation, which is in good keeping with the need for restoration, so there is legal foundation for that. And in terms of scientific support, as I mentioned, you're trading low biodiversity for high biodiversity, and there's over 100 peer-reviewed studies on our website in 70 nations over 30 years to prove the efficacy of these reefs and making reefs to offset impacts, even in the deep ocean at this point, is standard operating procedure and generally accepted as good scientific practice. Thank you very much.